Werner is set to leave, we understand, today. And, of course, Chelsea still yet to decide whether a move for Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is viable. How much can Raheem address Chelsea's focal point issues? In other words, is it enough to have Raheem deployed as a false nine with Havertz and Mount either side of him, as we saw on Saturday?
Is it enough for what?
Is it enough for the club to do anything?
Well, I think
to get enough goals.
I think they'll finish top four. But with Raheem as their out and out false nine, I'm not sure they're going to achieve anything more than that. I think I look at Timo Werner. I think he had a lot of good attributes. I said it before, when you're playing against a striker who's got pace, all of a sudden you get 10 more yards on the pitch.
Well, that was about it, though, wasn't it? That's why he's departing these shores.
Yeah, but he still
couldn't score.
He didn't score, but he also
finish.
He did other things for the football club and for the team. Kai Havertz, I think he's a good striker who's obviously been a success, scored in Champions League final. You've got Brozier, who played really well, I thought, for Southampton last season. And possibly Aubameyang. I don't think Raheem Sterling is going to be the choice for the whole season. I think he's just standing in there for now. We see Bob Brozier, he came on for 10 minutes in the last game against Everton and ran around and made a bit of a fuss about himself. But in general, I think they need to bring somebody else in. I think they need an out-and-out number 9 who's going to compete with Kai Havertz and be able to
well, that's what they did in the past, Simon, wasn't it? I mean, in 2016-17, the last title-winning season,
Diego Costa.
Conte, they scored 85 times the light of Diego Costa. You're right, Simon. Eden Hazard, part of that front line.
It's inherently unfair on Raheem Sterling. It's an expectation. It's one thing playing in a side like Man City that are a free-flowing football team that are ripping people to pieces and they're good all over the pitch. It's another thing when you've got a slightly workman like Chelsea that's being re-pieced back together with a slightly whiny Thomas Tuchel at his head at this moment in time, and expecting Raheem Sterling to be an outcome. That's not his best position. He can play there. He'll do a job there because he's a good player. But he won't do the job in terms of provide the solution that Chelsea clearly need to have, which is a focal point. They need a player that they can put on the end of a ball.
Which is a Haaland, which is a Nunez.
Yeah.
Which is what City and Liverpool
Which is a Brozier, though. I mean, but Brozier, I think they're looking at him at the moment. Thomas Tuchel's looking at Brozier and thinking, has he got enough to lead a Chelsea?
What do you think? Has he got enough?
I'm not so sure.
I think
he did well last season at Southampton, but
he ran out of steam at the back end of the time at Southampton.
Yeah.
Well, he looked really good at times at Southampton, but there's clearly a feeling from Thomas Tuchel that he isn't good enough for what Chelsea require. I can't imagine that seriously thinking that Tuchel is expecting Raheem Sterling to fill that role and play that way for Chelsea for the entirety of the season. I can't imagine that's what was sold to Raheem Sterling when he was sold the opportunity to come to Chelsea. He came to Chelsea because he couldn't get a guaranteed position of being in the front of the manager's mind for every game. No. He's gone to Chelsea to be that one, and I can't imagine he was told that he was going to be that one in a position which clearly isn't his best position.
And Simon, you're right to mention Diego Costa. No player has hit the 20-goal threshold since Diego Costa.
Well, it almost makes the argument about the contractual situation with Roma is slightly difficult because obviously Chelsea...
Are you doing some agency work?
No, I'm not. But if you're looking around at solutions, what are the solutions that we're talking about? Who are we indexing to Chelsea as centre forward? Right, so I'm throwing a name out there. It might be the wrong name.
Aubameyang's
but it's a
been
discussion point. Yeah. I think culturally, the reasons why I would push back against Aubameyang is because I think culturally he's wrong. I think he shouldn't get the reward of being a problem at Arsenal, shift out to Barcelona, and clearly Barcelona don't value him that much. I know they brought Lewandowski in.
How does that make him a cultural problem?
Because I think his attitude has proven to be wrong now, and has proven to be wrong on a number of occasions. And with that in mind, now the one sort of alternative argument to that is that Tuchel has done nothing but bang the drum for how wonderful he is. Well, you can have him then. You can have him rocking into your training ground, being late and doing whatever he does when he feels like it, and see if you think that's the positive influence, because you were very vociferous about what a wonderful person he was when he was going out the door at Arsenal. If he is the answer for Chelsea, I'm disappointed with what the question may be. I think there's a better answer.
Will he get you goals? Will he get you goals? Tuchel will probably say yes.
But in this side, I'm not entirely sure how free-flowing Chelsea are. I hate this sort of statistic, but it's there and thereabouts about expected goals in games. Chelsea, to me, are quite a clunky workman-like side. And, Timo Werner, I don't know why he was such a failure, because he wasn't a failure in Germany. And whilst Germany, Erling Haaland ripped it up in Germany, and everyone was happy to accept that level of football wasn't something that Erling Haaland was achieving in because it was a poor level of football. So I'm surprised that Werner didn't do better than he did, but maybe the die was cast early in his time and the confidence never came.
But I think he has spells. I'm just looking at his goal ratio, and when he was at Stuttgart, he scored 13 goals in 95 games. Then he went to Leipzig and did really well. But there's been times for his under 21s he didn't score very many goals, and I think it depends not just the chemistry of the team, but the relationships he has within the team.
Trevor, there isn't a Chelsea fan in the city that would plead with you to keep Werner.
Really? As in doing a job for the team, as in stretching teams in behind.
Couldn't finish.
I'm surprised because I think he has got good attributes for the
team. I know we can live in the past. His run was what created the space for Kai Havertz to score in the Champions League final.
Well, also to beat Manchester City 3 times at the end of that season.
The bottom line is their version of Erling Haaland was Romelu Lukaku.
Yeah,
and they got it wrong.
Right,
and for whatever reason they got it wrong.
Exactly.
So they know
we've seen what's happened.
They knew what they
Tammy.
needed, so nothing's changed.
We've seen what's happened with Tammy. He's gone away, he's scored a bucket load of goals. Are they going to give the opportunity now, learning from their mistakes, to Brozier?
Well, you've got an hour and a half to get a few more mentions of Tammy in.
No, I've done my bit in terms of talking about Tammy Abraham. The reason why I mentioned Tammy Abraham is because I know Trevor's in the same place as me, and we'll find some accord on it because we've spoken previously. Everyone ridiculed it. You won't do this, you won't do that. He's gone and scored goals for Roma. Yeah. He's a decent player.
Oh, he is more than that. I give you that, Simon. He's more than that. Trevor, is that your chair? Or does your knee need some WD-40?
Probably a bit of both.
Okay.
It's his wallet.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.